All right, we're joined by UFC strawweight Mackenzie Dern, who's back in action. Mackenzie, how's it going?
It's going good. Just in camp, getting pretty close to the fight. So I'm excited to get back in there on April 9th.
Yeah, first thing I want to touch on is on the main card of UFC 273, and that obviously means back in front of fans. Like, how excited are you to be back in front, fighting in front of fans again?
Oh man, I'm so excited. I mean, I had a good run in the Apex with just just the coaches. It was definitely like a different experience. I think was really good for me. I had I think 4 or 5 fights in the Apex with no crowd. So it's definitely different to fight kind of like a little bit similar to sparring. You really hear like your coaches, you hear everything. You kind of, so it's good to kind of pass through certain things. Like, okay, I can hear what my opponent's coaches are saying. They're telling her to throw like a left, right, like a jab cross hook. And just like kind of stay focused and work through that whole different like mentality part of it. But yeah, I mean, just having the crowd and that those moments where you just need to bring it out, that heart, show that heart, that the crowd is what really brings it out of you. With the cheering and everything like that. I was missing it so much. And Jacksonville, man, Jacksonville's crazy. So I think there'll be a lot of great fights.
Yeah, I was looking. The last time you fought in front of the crowd would have been the Rebus fight, which was in 2019. Like, it's been longer than most fighters for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean that was my loss, like one of my losses. So definitely, and it was in Tampa. I mean, it's not Jacksonville, but it was in Florida. So when they told me, "Hey, you're back in Florida," I'm like, "Okay, let me make up my last loss that I had there and put on a great show for the crowd." So I'm excited.
And when you got the name Tecia Torres, like, how excited are you for that? Because she's like a legend of this division. Like, she's fought everyone. Like, everyone knows who Tecia Torres is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tisha's name has been kind of coming up for a while, even before her last couple of fights and before my last couple of fights, but it never like really fell through. Um, they ended up always a different person or a different option that was better at the moment came up, or for her or for me. So yeah, finally to be able to fight her. I mean, she's been on a great roll recently. And yeah, I mean, like you said, she's fought, Zhang Wei Li, she's fought Rose, she's fought so all the top fighters, So I think it's definitely going to be a good opportunity for me to make up some mistakes that I made in my last fight, and just kind of see where I stand, and see what I can do in the division and how I can do with the top girls that she did. But she's a tough fighter, man. I don't think she's ever been finished. A lot of her fights go to decisions, so she's definitely like an experienced fighter, and I'm trying to gain that experience now, So I think it's a cool matchup, and yeah, it'll be good.
Just quickly, I want to touch on your last fight. Like, first main event, obviously didn't go your way, but a really exciting fight. Like, what you kind of take away from that one?
Yeah, I mean it was a great fight, I really felt Marina's experience, in the her stand up, not that, oh, she was, the toughest fight I ever fought or anything like that, but I just really felt like her experience as in, okay, to know like, okay, I'm down one round, I can take the second round off, and I can kind of recover in the third and fourth, because then like pointing, I could just see her working strategically in the fight, and me, I felt like I had to really like control my emotions and still kind of take away from being such an emotional fighter, as in like you just want to get to the person and finish the fight, and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, it was good. Like I'm happy that I was able to do a lot, kind of show a lot on the ground. Unfortunately, I didn't get the finish, the submission. So I know I was missing. I was kind of off on my game. I shouldn't lose some positions on the ground like that. But yeah, I mean, I think we had fun on the ground. I was kind of working through a lot of different positions on the ground. I think, striking wise, I mean, obviously she was out striking me, but I mean, I didn't get knocked out or anything like that. And I mean, we took home fight of the night. So that was my first fight of the night bonus. So I'm really happy about that. But hopefully next time I'll be on the winning side of it and not the losing part.
Yeah, even though you lost, like, I thought your striking looked a lot better than it has in the past couple fights. Which, like, how much better do you think it has gone, especially working with Jason Perillo, who's one of the best striking coaches in the sport?
Oh, I mean, it's gone so much. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that was like a little bit frustrating about that fight, because I mean, Marina's a great striker. She's long, you know, she has great footwork. So I mean, just to be able to like kind of me a jiu-jitsu girl be able to hang in and kind of like, you know, be able to hang in there with her, you know, and just I feel like we have so much to show. In that fight, I didn't really get to show how much we really have improved. So it's like, man, Perillo has just been helping me so much. And I can tell even he gets frustrated a little bit, but frustrated like in a good way. Like, man, he sees all the potential. He sees all the work we've been putting in, and he sees how much I've been getting better. But unfortunately, that last fight, I wasn't able to show it, but it's coming, you know, it's coming. Just have patience, you know. But I think people will be really surprised, like, okay, you know, a jiu-jitsu girl that's able to fight standing up like that too. And of course, I'm never going to take away from my ground game. I think that's for me to have a long career, you know, and not get too much like damage and broken noses and hit to my, you know, too much damage to my face and stuff like that. Of course, I think my jiu-jitsu is going to be what's going to make my career long and kind of, you know, records and things like that from submissions and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a totally different game when you fight someone who's like good on the ground and good striking, you know.
And this fight, like 6 months to the day of your last one, like was this a bit longer than a layoff than what you wanted?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I came after my loss. I wanted to get back in soon. We were trying to see like um the January 15th, I think it was 15, the Anaheim card, but I had a surgery, so that kind of pushed me back a little bit. And then and yeah, so I mean, it was a little bit longer than I had hoped, especially after a loss. You know, you want to kind of get back in there and just like, oh, let's forget about the loss kind of thing. But it was good. I mean, I'm taking advantage of this time and just working on me and as a fighter. So it was needed, you know. And sometimes, of course, injuries aren't the best things, you know. But definitely, like when you look on the bright side of things, the injury was kind of like what I needed to like hold back and let me work on myself and get myself a better, you know, physically what like physical and like, you know, my
Mhm.
body and my
Yeah.
mind and just technique. So yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm in the end, I'm happy for this time.
And with Tecia, like, how do you think you match up against her? Just because she is very well rounded and she's already like she's fought a lot of those top girls, like we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a great fight for me right now, coming off my loss and you know off the injury and just like being this time out. You know, I think she's gonna push the pace. You know, I know she has great cardio, so I'm really focused on okay if we go to 3 rounds. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she's fought someone with my ground game. You know, and I mean, of course, in my last fight with Marina, the hard part was getting her to the ground and reaching her. So the fact that Tisha's shorter than me, you know, I think it's good. I think this is a good advantage for me because kind of for her to point on me and stuff, she needs to get in closer than Marina did, for example. You know, Marina could kind of stay on the outside and still, you know, get her points and stuff like that. And Tisha, for her to get inside, she's shorter than me, you know, so I'll have the reach in this fight. And I've been working so much on just closing the distance and my takedowns and things like that. So I'm definitely not gonna lose a lot of positions in this fight like my last one. You know, I have a lot of things that I corrected, and I think I'm gonna get the submission in this fight. That's the
Yeah,
goal.
that's what I want to touch on. Like Tisha's never been finished before. So like if you go out there and finish her, like what do you think that does for her? Because like her only losses are to Marina, Whaley, Joanna, Jessica Andrade, and then Rose, who are the top five of the division, and none of them never were able to finish her.
Yeah. No, I think that's a will be a great statement, you know. And like I said, she kind of had a little bit um like bad phase, kind of, I guess,
Mhm.
bad phase. But she, like you said, she was just fighting all the champs and stuff like that. So, but recently, man, I feel like she's evolved so much. Almost, she did like a big. I don't know what she did in her game or her camp or what she did, but man, I feel like she just evolved way more now, and she's a better fighter now than she was before. So I really think that will be a huge statement, you know, and just I mean everyone I think everyone in the division knows I'm dangerous on the ground, you know, but I think when you have really all know how hard Tisha is to finish and stuff like that. And so when you have someone go in and then finish her, it's kind of like, oh shoot, okay. So we really have to be careful. And hopefully that gives like a little bit like intimidates a little bit, you know, in the division. I mean, you know what I mean? That for the
Mhm.
girls when they fight me and just kind of be a little bit more scared even just to exchange, on the standing, because if you get too close, then you're taken to the ground.
Oh, where do you think a win puts you? Just because you're already ranked fifth, and like a win here, especially with the strawweight division, like you could be in another title eliminator fight like right after this one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, with Tisha, she's I think number 7. So if I win the fight, I won't go up in the ranks. I don't believe so. I'll stay probably number 5. But it's just like the division's a little bit on hold right now. I mean, I think Rose and Carla. I don't know if they're
Mhm.
100% scheduled, but I think they're next to fight. And then I mean, I know Joanna's trying to get kind of like the pay higher raise and stuff like that. But hopefully her and Zhang Weili can fight again, and we can see the number 2 of that fight. And then after that, yeah, like we'll see who has next. Maybe I really don't know. I kind of want to fight someone ahead of me, so I don't know. China and that rematch with Marina. I think Marina will go for the title after her last performance. But yeah, just kind of wait and see what happens in the division. That's the hard part when you get to the top.
Mhm.
It's like you don't have that many options. Then when you're back unranked or something like that, you can have fights almost every other weekend if you want. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the division. But I definitely think with a great win, a big statement, we can have a really big fight after this.
Yeah, because I think you get a win here, like, it's really maybe, like, the loser of the title fight or, like, Yan
Yeah,
Jianan or Wei Li if she does get the Yuan fight. Like, I think those are probably, like, the only 3 fights that are because then everyone else is below you and you beat a lot of them. So, like, I think a person ranked above you is probably next.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I coming into this, I thought like, man, so if you lose, you have to fight someone who lost. If you win, then you fight someone who won. But then I saw like Marina and Yan China, and then I said like, okay, it's not necessarily about if you're coming off a win or a loss. It's just kind of how the matchup. And I think a lot of people would like to see me with any of the girls in the top 4, top 5. So hopefully I get this win. Not looking past Tecia. I really want to make a big statement, show all my improvement, and then we'll see what comes after that.
Just a couple more things, like, with that Rose Carla fight, if it happens, who do you kinda see winning that one? Because that's such, like, a close fight to me, like, I don't really even know who wins.
No, I think Rose will win. I mean, um, yeah, I think it was just experience why Carla won on the first time. I don't see like Rose giving her back or giving those same positions like the last time. And I mean, I know Carla's she's getting stronger and things like that, but I kind of feel like Carla's a little bit very very similar than she was back then. I don't see her had changed so much. You know what I mean? So I just see Rose how much she evolved from back then, and I think she's a totally new fighter and a better athlete and a better all around technique. So I think Rose will get the win again, or not again, but
Yeah.
get the stay with the belt.
It's something we've talked about in the past too, but are you still getting people, like, always asking you or questioning you if you're gonna make weight just because that, like, 1 or 2 times it happened? Like, you've made 115 all the times, and I always see people like, "Oh, you gotta watch Dern on the scale, like, you don't know she's gonna make it," and you've made it, like, every time in the past, like, 3 years. I don't know why people are
Yeah.
still talking about it.
No, I mean, it's gone way better. I think very few people actually like talk about it now, but it's actually funny because my weight's so good. Now my problem, it's a good problem to have, but my problem is to keep my weight up,
Mhm.
so I'm really just trying to keep my weight up and not like I'll go to like 121, like Thursday I was 121, and so I have to like stay okay. Let me get my weight back up to 123 so I don't get my last fight. I weighed in 114.5, and I fight at 115. And the day of the fight, the next day I was 116, so I didn't even gain weight. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be that light. I'm trying to get at least a little bit heavier than that. I like to fight around 123. That's kind of like my normal weight. So yeah, just my problem now is kind of to keep my weight up. And it's funny, like my weight's good, so I don't want to go to like the weigh-ins so early and just
Yeah.
like waiting around and stuff like that. So I'm usually almost one of the last ones to go in. um and everyone, I think that like people like, oh look, see, she must be suffering or something. I'm like, no, I'm just relaxing at home, well, not at home, but at the hotel with my daughter. I don't want to be just waiting for everyone to weigh in. I try and go near the end. So I think that kind of gives a little bit I don't know, people still think that maybe I'm suffering. I'm trying to get the weight off, you know? So it's funny. I'm like, I think that'll stick with me probably for a long time.
Just last thing, like, what's kind of the goal for you this year? Like, where do you kind of see yourself at the end of the year if everything goes your way?
By the end of this year, 20.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I think before my loss, it was a lot of like, every time you get on a hype train, and you start getting momentum, the things start coming really fast. People start talking about titles, and stuff like that. So this time I'm not sure how fast I'll progress, in the rankings. Like I said before, like with the other girls in the division. But I mean, I think it all just depends on my performances, how big of statements I can do if I win things kind of close, or if I get, in and out and submit and just put on a great show. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm close. I'm close to the belt. We'll see what happens, but I think 2022 is going to be a great year, and yeah, hopefully injury free. And we'll see. We'll see what comes by the end of the year. But who knows? Maybe a title fight. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, Mackenzie, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks so much. Cool.